You know, in your kitchen right now, there's a spice you probably use every single day without a second thought. But what if I told you that for thousands of years, that same old black pepper was actually considered a powerful medicine? We're about to uncover its secret history, and it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if one of history's most effective traditional remedies isn't some rare, exotic herb, but it's sitting right there, right next to your salt shaker? This isn't just some fun hypothetical question. For a huge part of human history, it was a reality.
And this knowledge is ancient. We're talking about texts like the Charaka Samhita, which is a cornerstone of Ayurveda, the traditional Indian system of medicine. And in its pages, black pepper isn't just a way to season your food. It's laid out as a powerful, multi-purpose remedy.
So let's do this. Let's start with the spice we all think we know and trace its incredible journey from our dinner tables all the way back to the shelves of the ancient apothecary.
And just to be super clear, this is not some new wellness trend that just popped up. We're talking about knowledge that's been meticulously documented and passed down for centuries. It comes from a whole system of medicine built on really careful observation, one that saw the plants all around us not just as food, but as a living pharmacy. So what did these ancient texts actually say about pepper? Let's dive into the specifics of Ayurvedic wisdom and unpack the properties of what they called Maricha. That's the Sanskrit name for black pepper.
You know what's so cool is how the ancient Sanskrit names for pepper were basically medical labels. Maricham literally meant that which overcomes poison. Ushnam, or hot, pointed right to its power as a gastric stimulant. Cough Varoti was a direct instruction, anti-phlegm, meaning it was used for coughs. The diagnosis and the cure were built right into the language itself.
Which brings us to a really simple but crucial question. What is it inside this tiny little peppercorn that gives it all these amazing and really diverse properties?
Well, the secret is all in its chemical makeup. If you can zoom in on a peppercorn, you'd find a few different things, but the real star of the show is an alkaloid called piperine. Now, it only makes up a small percentage, but that piperine is what gives pepper its signature kick, and, more importantly, it's what drives a lot of its medicinal effects.
Okay, so now we know what's inside it, but how was it actually used? First, let's take a look at how pepper was used to heal from the inside, as a really powerful internal remedy.
This quote from an old Materia Medica, which is basically a historical guide to medicines, is so direct. When it talks about flatulence, dyspepsia, and atonia of the stomach, it's describing pepper's #1 job, waking up the digestive system to help with things like indigestion and bloating. But it was used for so much more than just digestion. I mean, this was a true multi-tool of the apothecary. It was prescribed for all sorts of things, from respiratory issues like chronic coughs and asthma to fighting off fevers and even helping with congestion of the spleen. Let's look a little closer at that fever-fighting ability. The historical texts use a pretty specific medical term for it. They called it an antipyretic.
So what does that even mean? Well, it's pretty simple. An antipyretic is just a substance that helps reduce a fever. The traditional idea was that pepper worked by causing you to sweat, by causing perspiration, which was seen as helping the body to sweat out the fever and cool itself down naturally.
So that's how it worked on the inside, but that's only half the story. To really get the full picture, we have to look at how it was used for relief from the outside as a surprisingly effective topical treatment. Its versatility here was just incredible. If you had a toothache, they'd grind it into a paste and put it right on the tooth for relief. For muscular pains or headaches, it was infused into an oil and then massaged into the skin. If you had a sore throat, you might even be given a black pepper gargle. And get this, in a real emergency, it was even mixed with vinegar and applied to venomous reptile bites.
So after hearing all of that, it kind of feels like we need a reintroduction, doesn't it? It's pretty clear that for most of history, pepper wasn't just a simple seasoning to be taken for granted. It was an essential part of the pharmacy.
It really has this dual identity. Internally, it was a gastric stimulant and a fever reducer. And then, externally, it was this versatile topical pain reliever, used for everything from toothaches to muscle pain.
Which I guess leaves us with one final thought. The next time you're at the table and you reach for that pepper shaker, are you going to see it as just a spice? Or are you going to see it as a tangible piece of medicinal history?